today, our agenda is understand, first of all, vector. Vector in our program, and will perform certain functions on vector, and will perform some graphics, perform some graphic operation or functions. Okay, so before we start, let me just explain. So if I have a variable, then I'll use like this way: a equal to 5 means I can hold one value. If I say a equals to 10 means I can have now 10 and 5 is gone. But if I have a equals to 12, then 5 is gone, 10 is gone, and now a has 12. So at single point of time, you can only have one value. In other case, vector in R is written like this: a equals to c, lowercase c. R is case sensitive, and you can provide bunch of value. It's up to you how many value you provide, and that is a list. It creates a list. Now if I print a, it will print entire value. So let me show you how it works, and we'll perform basic vector programming. This is the part one, and I'll continuously create multiple R programming videos. So that way you have some experience when you are performing the labs with the simple examples. Again, more details are in my forum. You know the forum part, and we will go through step by step. So let's start first of all, RStudio. You can just search RStudio in your machine and you can click on that, which I already have started here, which is this one, RStudio. You just click on that, and once you start RStudio, you will see this window. Basic things. You can see the first window where you see the greater than sign. It's kind of shows console command. Here you write command. On top of that, this is the editor where you write a script, which we'll cover in coming class. Here you see history. Here you will see history, whatever the command you're working. So example, if I write a equals to, let's say 10, if I click here and if I say equal to 10, then it will show that a has a 10 value. And if I say a equals to 12, it can maintain 12 here. So whatever you write here, it maintains the history, and here you see graphs. So here you see environment or your history of variables and other informations. And here you see graph, files, and other kind of things. So how this vector works. So if you want to clear any screen, just do Control L. Control L. L stands for clean. Now let's start with the vector. So if I have, let's say vector, let's say I'm doing some analysis for school, and I have a vector called math equals to C. And let's say I have 5 values, for example, or maybe I can have more values. So I can example 10, 20, it doesn't matter which value you enter randomly values to see how this scores for that particular class, especially math class course we are trying to get here. So I enter some value. Again, any value is fine. Just enter a few values, try to perform some analysis. Okay. Now, if I want to know what I have, I just need to print a math. You can do this way also, and you can print that, or you can use print math, and you can print that vector. Now, what is vector means? So think about vector means in Excel file, you have column. So if you see Excel, in Excel, you have column. The vector is like if you have in Excel, you have A column, B column, same thing. And the value which you have, which bunch of value is kind of list. So vector is also called list. And each item has a proper index. So this is 1, 2, 3, like that index are that. So let me show you. So this is my vector math. And let's say if I do math 1. So what happened in a rectangle bracket, if I do 1, it pulls the first value because this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. So I can pull particular value. Let's example, if I want to pull first to 3, like first, second, and third, then I'll do math in rectangle bracket 1 colon 3, and I press enter, I get that. Or if I say math, if I say 1 colon 3 comma 2 colon 5 colon 7, and if I press enter, it is not going to work because it is not understanding this thing. Because you can specify the range or you can specify the things. So if I want to say I want to get, let's say, particular value, then I can also say math, let's example 5 colon 7, then I can get that value. So this way you can cherry pick a particular value from your list. Again, you can pick this value, you can pick any value. Again, you need to understand how to filter. I'll show you in a few minutes as well. So far, any questions? So again, if you want a clear screen, you're going to do Control L. So let's example, I create another vector, let's say A. So A, and in order to create vector, you use C, lowercase c, which is the create vector, and let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have one vector with 4 values. I'm going to create another vector, C, B, and then let's say has a 10, 20, 30, 40, which is like now I have 2 vectors. Now both this vector, I'm going to do some operations. So rule number 1, both vectors should have same size. So you can see here there are 4 value here and there are 4 value here. So I can do now vector operations. R is very popular because it has a statistical language richness. So you can do a lot of interesting works. So let me show you here. So if I say, I create another vector like example Z equal to A plus B. And if I print Z, then you can see that it is automatically doing vector related operations. So if you see here, it takes 1 plus 10, it gets me 11, 2 plus 20. This is very, very easy. And because it's a vector based operations, you are doing actually column based operations. So you can do plus, multiply, just like you do in Excel, you are doing that, which is very, very convenient for those who are doing data analysis work. Now, if you want to do multiplications, you can do also multiplications, like example A time B, and you can see multiplications also. If you want to do, let's say, divisions, you can say B divided by A also. So you can see now the values, whatever value you have, you divide this value. So 20 divided by 2, which is 10, 30 divided by 3, you can do that as well. So it's kind of easy when you have vector. Please understand there are 2 things you need to know in R. R is mostly use 2 things. One is if you have one column, then it's called vector. And if you have another column, another vector. But if you have multiple columns together, so if you have multiple columns together, then that's called data frame. So we'll cover data frame in coming class also, so you will understand. Now, if you have, let's say, previous vector, whatever vector you have, the value will remain. And if you want to use it, just use math. Or if you want to use previous command, use up arrow, and you can see all the previous commands. You can see through up arrow, you can see all your previous command also. So now let me show you, like example, if this is my vector and I want to know what is the total size of the vector, how many elements we have. So you can use length, 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 and then you provide math. So you can see the vector. So I have 12 elements in this vector. And if I want to know how many elements I have in this vector, I can say length A, and I can see I have 4 elements. If you want to do some research, like what is the minimum value in my math vector, you can do minimum value and you can do maximum value also. And if you want to know, okay, what is my total, then you can use sum also, sum, and you can use the vector and you can get the total also. If you have specific conditions, like example, if you want to count something and all, then you can do various operations, and all those things are documented in our forum. I'll show you in a few minutes as well. If you want to clear the screen, use Control L. Control L means clear the screen. So now again, when you clear the screen, your vector is not lost the value. Your vector is still have the value. If you want to remove the vector, then you have to use remove, and then you can use the vector name, which we are not going to do right now. Now, at this moment, there is one special command which is called summary, which is kind of nice. People like, those who like statistic, they like this statistic. It gives you clarity about how this data is distributed. So think about the data distributions. So it gives you, like, normally your data is start from minimum, which is the minimum value here, and then maximum value. So this is your starting and this is your ending value. So you can see here highest value, we have 80, and then data distribution perspective, this is your median. So your median, and this is your first quartile. This is your third quartile. So third quartile here, it says 71, and your in your first quartile is 27. So it looks like data is quite good distributed. So it's kind of almost very nicely normal distribution. So you have 3 options. Either one, data is distributed in a normal distributions, or data is distributed in let's say example, this is your median, and data is distributed like this form, which is called right side of shift, means positive side, more values are in this side, more greater than the median, or data is distributed in this side. So example, if I draw here, so data is distributed this side, it means with data, more data in the lower side of the wing, here more data on the higher side of the wing, and more data in the middle side of the wing. So this gives idea how our data is distributed. Many time in a normal data world, we say I got 90%. 90% is just 1 point in the system. But if you say I'm 90 percentile, so 90 percentile means you are actually greater than 90 percentage people. It means good thing. So 90% doesn't give me much value, but 90 percentile give me I'm greater than 90% people, which is good. So always in our language we use more percentile. You can also create the vector with the string. So example, if I create a friends and I can say C, let's say I create a couple of my friends name, comma separated. You can just specify the value as a comma separated. And here I say Kevin. So I have 4 friends. And if I want to print that, I can do length also just like that, right? I can do the friends and you can get that. But there are certain cases where you want to do operations. Like example, I want to pick a first friend. So I can say friends and I can specify in a rectangle bracket 1. So that is the spelling mistake, friends. I need to be exactly the spelling wise. And if I want to know up arrow, and if I use 2, then I can get that second friend. But if I want to know like a first and 2, I can't do this way because that is not going to work. So you have up arrow and you can do 1 colon 2 if it is a sequential. 1 is a starting and 2 is the ending. Or you can do this way, friends, right? And in that you can say vector and you can specify 1 2, and now you can see you get the same thing. The benefit about that, you can choose like this and you can get the Tom and Kevin also. So you can see here which the vector Tom value, which is the first, and 4 I select as well. So a nice way to, I like this one because it gives you more flexibility. Here you get more sequential if you have sequential, and if you have one value you can just pick that as well. So far so good. Now, if I go further in a forum, so we talk about in a vector, you can have multiple value at the same time. So there are 3 vectors you can have same value. So you can assign to the same value in this variables or vectors, you can say that. As you go further, you can do math operations here. You can see different values we are assigning and do. This is kind of basic operation, but normally you don't use variable approach. You use always list or vector approach. So here you can see we have 2 vectors and we are doing mathematical operations as we discuss here. You can do multiply, divisions and all, which I like the most. And I'm sure you will use, when you use vector, think about the list in Excel, and then you are doing operations on the vector and it creates a new vector. So every time you do operations, you get a new vector, and that help us a statistician or data analyst to perform certain type of analysis. You can also use certain escape vector. Now I want to show you some like what you call string related operations. There is a one thing called paste, which is kind of nice thing. So paste means you kind of combine that. So if you want to combine certain things, you can use paste here. So let me show you here. So if I want to do right now, if I say friends, right, friends, then I get, sorry, my mistake spelling, FRI, friends, I got all my thing. But if I use, let's say paste, right, and I can say friends, 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 and I use 1 and then comma, and I say double quotation space and then comma, and I say friends, FRI, friends 2. So you can see now it creates friend 1, then it adds 1 extra space, and then it does. So you can kind of combine. So if you use like a first name and if you have last name, and if you want to combine something and create, and then you use the command called paste. Very useful command. Sometimes it's very useful. So you may be using it as well. As you go further, let's talk about mean and median. So good news about it. Mean is also known as average, which I think most of you know. So in that case, you are taking the list of the value. First, you add all them and then divide by how many values you have. So here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So total your 6 value, and total addition is 30. So 30 divided by 6 will be 5. So that 5 is your average here. Median, first you take the list and then order that, sort them, and then cross one by one. And then whatever you get in the middle, you take the average of that. So 3 plus 6, 2, and 9, 4.5. So median is actually called middle point. Mode means if you list and you need to know which value is repeated more often. So you can see here we have this value repeated more often. So mode is 3. And range means you take the minimum value and maximum value and then do subtractions and you get the range also. So all those things are available also in R programming. So example, if I show you here, example mean, and I use math vector, I can get that. Or if I use mean and a vector, I get that value as well. So you can do that. Now, as you go further, we talk about normally, this is called normal distribution. When your bell curve, this is the perfect where everything is good and there is no skew. Skew means like change or a shift. So here you can see the data has a little bit skew here. So they call positive skew because you are on a positive side here, and this is called negative skew because you're a negative side. Again, you can see the data is changing. Mean has a sensitivity of the data change, but median is somehow keep the data in the middle. So most of the time data is very sensitive. If data is changing, then mean is changing, but median will remain there because median is actually a middle point and it crosses like step by step minimum to highest, and then it finds the middle point. Again, important for you to know about it. We can do sum, we can do max, we can do mean, variation. Okay, these are the functions available. Now, there are other functions available also. So you can see here, you can do sum, mean, max. We talk about range. So let's say, example, if I want to do range, I can say range and I can use math and it will give me the range for that vector. So you can see the range, I got that minimum and maximum I can get also. And sometimes if I want to know how many time data repeated, so example, let me create another thing like a survey. I do survey and I create a vector C, and let's say 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0. Let's say I want to know 1 means yes and 0 means no. So let's say I did survey. Now I want to know how many 0 I got and how many 1 I got. 1 means yes and 0 means no. So there is a command called table, and if I say survey, it will calculate the total frequency. So example 0 I got, you can see that there are 4 times I got 0. It means no. And 1, you can see here I got 1 2 3 4. It's kind of equal also. So you can see here 1 also I got 4 times. So it's kind of nice command. And the beautiful part about this command, it gives you automatic like a survey. So example, if you have yes no, so let me show you again. So like example, if I say if I do survey, let's say create another vector, let's say I do yes means yes and no, right? And then let's say maybe means, let's say I copy this thing a couple of times just to give idea, and here I use and remove this, and here I use and remove this, and now I have yes no kind of things, right? And now if I press enter, oops, missing. Okay, here the gamma was causing trouble. I just want to make sure. Oops, still missing somewhere. It has to, value has to be separated by comma. So this is good. And you can see this is causing trouble because I need to be in this way. So this is 1 2 3, and this one has, let's assume y, and this is not right. It has to be like that. So oops, still having a problem. Argument is 3 is empty, which is okay one way, but let's fix it by use up arrow and fix it. Okay, so argument 8 is empty. Very nice. So let's remove that also. Good. Now if I say table survey, it kind of give me idea, then maybe 2, no maybe 3, and yes maybe 3. So this is good. And the benefit about that, if you want to plot something, you can use, let's example here, I want to do bar plot. That's a graph, and I say survey. And you can see now, oops, spelling. I need to use this table thingy. So I'll copy this, and if I do that, you can see now it is giving me thing that for mean, maybe I got 2, and no, I got 3, and yes, I got 3. So it kind of nice thing. You can see here, this data was kind of descriptive, and this data, I use this command bar plot, which is the bar graph, and table. So I use this value, and using this value, it created a nice graph. So table survey, it helped me to see. So this is called visual representations, kind of give me idea that, okay, wow, visual is always better. Most people like visuals. It's a very nice way to go forward. So you got the idea. If you want to compare certain values and you want to filter that, let's do so. So you can understand. So right, if I have math has this value, right? This is my vector. But let's say I want to find out math, show me only value which are greater than 40. So I can do that. So here I'm specifying only show the value which is greater than 40. And let's say if I do length and I use the same thing, math, and math greater than 40, then it says there are 7 values. So you can see here, this one was showing me the all value which is greater than, and if I use length and then math, show me all value which is greater than 40, I get that thing also. Now if I say, hey, show me math, and in math, in a rectangle bracket, I give a condition. So I'll say math, show me double equals, make sure it's double equals 1, 2. Show me 50. So it will show me 50. I use up arrow and say, you know what, show me anything which is greater than 50. Now you can see I get this thing. And if I use up arrow, and if I say I want to sum all those values, so I can use sum, and I specify this value inside the parenthesis, and I can get that value also. It's pretty good, right? So you can see here, not only you are getting this value, but you're also doing total, which is kind of nice, right? Easy way to, you're using filter and at the same time additions. Nice way to do that also. And if you want to use some kind of conditions, there are ways you can do. So let's try that. So if I do math, and then if I specify math, let's say greater than 50, I get all 50. But let's say you want to specify another condition using and math less than, let's say 70. So you are now specifying these two ands, a person which gives you and now you're pressing enter. So 50 to 670. Oh, sorry, that it's 1, I believe here. So yes, so you can see here, when you use and sign, it means you are saying show me which is greater than 50. So this is the 50. Show me it is greater than 50, but at the same time show me less than 70. So you can see you got 60 and 56. Let's try one more time. So I use up arrow and I say show me anything which is greater than 30. You can use greater than equals to like that. So show me greater than 30 and show me which is less than equals to 50. So now you have range 30 to 50, and you can do that. If I use up arrow instead of and, if I use pipe, this is the pipe. So pipe is the switch above the enter. If I do so, it gives me or. So it means now you're saying, show me anything which is greater than 30, show me anything is less than 50. So technically speaking, you will get all values, because here you are saying anything 30 above. And here you are saying anything 50 above. So you can see you will get all values. So let's check it out. So you can do that also. So you get all values. It's kind of wrong conditions. But if you say here, let's example, show me if it is equals 30, or show me if it is equal 50. So any condition is true, you will see that. So here you can see that here, if I do this and, means both condition has to be true. This has to be true, this has to be true. And if this 10, then you get the result. But in or, if this condition is true, or this is the or, if this condition is true, you get the result. So one of them condition is true, you get the result. It doesn't need to be both condition has to be true. If both condition is false, you don't get result. But if your one condition is true, you get result. So example, accidentally, if I use up arrow and if I use ampersand here, what do you think? What should I get? Technically speaking, math equal to 30 and math equal to 50, it's not going to happen at the same time. So you are not going to get any result. Got it? So this is the AND, means you are expecting both conditions to be true at the same time. Doesn't happen. Either it is 30 or it is 50. I hope you are understanding. So much fun to do such kind of thing. You can also use this in operation. This is also kind of fine for filtering purpose or finding purpose. So here you are saying this vector, look for this value, look for this value, like that. So let me show you so you can practically understand here. So here we have math, and we are saying if math, and then your percent in percent, right? That's what the, see, this is the operator, percent in percent. So this is the math is the column or vector in, and then you are looking for bunch of value is exists, then show me. So I'll say C, let's say look for 10, look for 35, look for 55, and you can see I have one value, which is 10. If I use up arrow, and let's say if I say this is 30 and this is 50, so what I'm saying here, go to the vector math and check if this 10, 30 or 50 exist in here. If any of this value exists, then bring it. So in means this value in this vector. If you show me that, so you can see now all three value exists. But if I say, let's example, if I say 500, which no one has, example 300, then no one has, so only 10 exists. So you can bring it here. It's a kind of good operators you may be using it here. Now, you know everything. So please go over this exercise and practice and figure it out how it works. And you may like that. So we go over the details, and these are the activity you will do. So thank you so much for the R programming part 1. And next week we will cover about part 2. I'll keep curating such kind of smaller videos so you can have a hands-on experience. Please understand, R programming is quite easy, and I'm going to keep adding all those labs and practicalities so you can practice. More you practice, easier it will become. And there are so many things we want to cover that. So in coming class, we'll cover it. I like unique also. So example, if there are values are duplicate, you can suppress through unique also. We talk about mean, max, and there are many more other things we'll be covering in coming class. So thank you so much. Please practice and subscribe our channel. Hopefully you will learn more, and look forward for part 2 R programming. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, and thank you.